Welcome to the 4 a.m. Club. If this is your first time, like and subscribe. Today's video is going to be super fun, at least for me, because we get to talk about one of my favorite topics in entertainment, which is comics, heroes, and things of that nature. Now, growing up as a kid, I loved comics. I loved heroes. I loved shows about heroes. And I mean, obviously, you can tell that I still love that. It's part of my childhood that I never left behind, and it's just great fun. So, obviously, if you click this video, you probably have that in common with me. But as we know, the best heroes have the best stories. That's what makes them the best. So if you're unfamiliar with any of these heroes, I recommend looking them up and reading some of their stories, watching some of their shows. They're fantastic. So today we're going over my top 10 superheroes of all time. Starting with number 10 is a newer hero, at least to the general audience, and it's the first Invincible comic actually came out in 2003. He was pretty much unknown until his Amazon show, I guess. His Amazon show came out a couple years ago. He's had 2 seasons, and in my opinion, they've been fantastic. It just goes to show that not every great superhero has to be DC or Marvel, which is pretty rare. What I like about Invincible is he's not the strongest person in his universe. He is by far not the strongest. Mark is actually half human, half Viltrumite, and his dad, named Omni-Man, is almost like that world Superman. Comes from a planet that sets out to conquer other planets, and Mark doesn't know this for the first 15, 16 years of his life. Invincible is definitely a different take on a superhero's perspective, and that's what we love about it. His relationship with his father is similar to Luke and Darth Vader. Coming in at number 9 is Green Lantern. Now, I feel that Green Lantern does not get the respect that he deserves solely because the 2011 Green Lantern movie was terrible, and it's really never recovered since then. The Hal Jordan Green Lantern is great and all, but I think the better Green Lantern is John Stewart. The reason why is because he had such an amazing part in the animated series Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. That John Stewart really was the best Green Lantern. I think he's definitely the strongest, bravest, best Green Lantern that we got. Stewart isn't represented as well as Hal Jordan in the comics, but in terms of that show, just that show alone, I think he deserves to be number 9. Coming in at number 8 is one of my favorite superheroes. The MCU really put this hero above a lot of other heroes. Captain America. Now, Captain America is one of my favorite heroes because not only is he patriotic, he's eager to serve, he doesn't like bullies.
I don't want to kill anyone. I don't like bullies. I don't care where they're from.
He constantly has the best moral compass. Captain America is always trying to do the right thing and help the little guy because he was that little guy at one point. Captain America has some great stories in the comics. However, the MCU really made this character a household name and one of the best characters of all time. Coming in at number 7 is Princess Diana. Wonder Woman is one of the best superheroes of all time. She, just like Jonathan Stewart, does not get the respect that she deserves. I would love to see an animated Wonder Woman show. Really, all we got is that show I think it was in the 80s or 70s. That TV show, my mom loved that show. But that Wonder Woman show is great. We never got an animated Wonder Woman series, but she did show up in Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. Regardless of how Wonder Woman 1984 turned out, the first Wonder Woman movie I think was solid. I'm excited to see what they do with her in the future. I really hope she gets the respect she deserves because, in my opinion, if we were making a list of just pure fighters, Wonder Woman might be number 1 or number 2. I think she's a warrior. She's an Amazon. And she's awesome. I think that she needs more adaptations. Coming in at number 6 is Tony Stark, Iron Man. Now, without the MCU, Iron Man would not be on this list. Robert Downey Jr. really made Iron Man a household name. And these days, most of the kids, their favorite hero is Iron Man. I didn't even hear it. That was unheard of when I was a kid. When I was a kid, what I watched was Batman, Superman, Justice League, SpiderMan, X-Men, and the Fantastic Four. That's what we watched. The Avengers were eh. Anyways, Iron Man carried the MCU. He was obviously the first movie in the MCU, and he just did amazing. It was a great run, and I'm sad it's over. I hope that Robert Downey Jr. returns to play Iron Man in the future. The MCU with Iron Man is really something special. All the movies are fantastic. So if you haven't seen any of those movies, go watch the first Iron Man, and it's just great. Breaking the top 5, number 5 is The Flash. The reason why I love the Flash so much is not only because he has one of the coolest powers of all time. I mean, it's not just speed. He has so many other things with the Speed Force and all the cool stuff he can do. He really was the first speedster, and we've seen so many other cool ones. You know how the MCU has heroes in their movies that are just funny and witty? That's the Flash. The Flash was really the first character, in my opinion, or at least that I saw and witnessed, that was heroic, brave, and hilarious all at the same time. And I feel like a lot of people relate to his funny comedy nature. He doesn't get taken too seriously with the rest of the Justice League because he's such a goofy guy, happy-go-lucky and all that good stuff. But honestly, like with all the cool heroes that we have, we need a hero that's kind of funny. And what the MCU has been doing with all their heroes, making them all silly and funny, is kind of overboard. When you pair the Flash with the rest of the Justice League, it's just such a good combination, and it's awesome. Now, the live-action adaptation of Flash has been terrible. The animated version of Flash is really the best. I hope in the DCU that they cast somebody better for the role of the Flash. I mean, the Flash is supposed to be like a toned-down version of Deadpool. He's supposed to be that funny character. Coming in at number 4 is the amazing, well, he's not really the leader of the X-Men, but he is the coolest character, especially when it comes to live-action movies, Wolverine. There's a reason that Wolverine has had so many movies, and he's having another one coming out next month. It's because he is one of the coolest characters of all time. Not only does he share a name with me, but he is the coolest X-Men we have. If it wasn't for Mr. Hugh Jackman putting in those gains and being one of the best darn characters ever on screen in Wolverine, he wouldn't be on this list. Obviously, his comics are amazing. Obviously, his relationship with the Avengers, X-Men, all that good stuff is amazing. But his live action movies are really what put him above all these other heroes. Now, making this list was tough. I changed it a couple times. However, coming in at number 3 is your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. People would think that Spider-Man would be number 1 or number 2. However, for me, he comes in at number 3. What's interesting about Spider-Man is his origins actually stem from Robin, Batman's sidekick, because in that time, there really was no teenage or kid heroes other than sidekicks. And Stan Lee said, I want to bring something that's more relatable to the general audience that read comics, right? They're kids. I think it was brilliant because Marvel heroes, and especially Spider-Man, tend to be more relatable because they deal with real-life issues. That's just proven in the first Spider-Man trilogy. Peter Parker is constantly dealing with things that he really shouldn't have to, but because with great power comes great responsibility, he doesn't put himself above others. I honestly think the best pairing of personalities would be Peter Parker and the Flash because they both have great senses of humor and they're both happy-go-lucky people, so I think they'd be great friends. That would be one heck of a crossover, the Flash and Spider-Man. Spider-Man has some of the most interesting, intriguing villains, and so he has some of the best stories out there. Man is an amazing hero. Honestly, if someone were to put him 1, 2, or 3, I wouldn't have any problem with that. He's great. So coming in at number 2 is tough because 2 and 1 are constantly changing, but for the past year and a half or so, number 2 has been the Man of Steel. Now, the Man of Steel has had plenty of adaptations. Honestly, I think we still need more. Superman is the first hero ever created, and there's a reason why he's named Superman. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that people think that Superman is boring. Obviously, they know nothing about him. I think his TV shows, his comics, his movies have all been amazing, except for Superman Returns. That was kind of boring. I'm super pumped for James Gunn and David Cornsett's Superman coming out next year, next July. I really hope it does well. I really want DC to really pull it out of the park, and honestly, pull it out of the park, knock it out of the park, because honestly, I think DC's better than Marvel. I think they're both great, but the Man of Steel comes in at number 2. And if you don't know who number 1 is, you probably don't know me very well or haven't seen my shirt today. Batman is the best superhero, I think, right? Just in general, Batman is the best hero that anyone has ever made. On the surface, you may not see why Batman is the greatest hero, but if you really dive into his shows, his comics, his movies, you will agree with me. It's Batman for the best hero ever. I mean, a lot of people can't argue with that because without a doubt, Batman has had the most adaptations, the most movies, the most comics. He has the best villains, the best storyline. Batman is the greatest superhero ever. I think he's number 1. I've made tons of other videos about that. If you want to check them out, go ahead. I'll put the links in the description. Now, if you think Superman or Spider-Man are better than Batman, I can live with that. However, I think those three are pretty consistent. Batman, Superman, and Spider-Man have to be in your top three. Whatever order, that's up to you. Thank you so much for watching. And if you made it this far in the video, you probably should like and subscribe. We do new videos every single day. We have a ton of variety of topics. And if you ever want to see us talk about a certain topic, just comment down below and we'll try to do it as soon as we can.